It's another episode of M-Class Podcast, kids.
That's my favorite show.
It's on the TV. Crank it up.
Tell your parents. Steal their credit card.
Oh shit, we're definitely gonna be in trouble.
I'm glad.
Fuck authority. I'm Jeff.
I'm Josh.
And on this program, we talk about an episode of Star Trek in excruciating detail, and I guess you listen to it.
We give episodes of Star Trek a colonoscopy. That's when they look up your pee hole. Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't like this comparison at all, to be honest.
It's like when they look up your butthole and then they're like, all clear.
They look up your butthole and down your pee hole.
That's how it works. That's how the plumbing works.
It's all connected in there somehow. On this episode of M-Class Podcast, I would be proud to announce our newest collection.
Yes.
The Ben Beuhler Defection Collection.
Oh my god, the alliteration rhyme. Wait.
I love it.
It's not alliteration, it's just a rhyme.
No, the Ben Beuhler part is
Ben Beuhler, there it is.
You were smart, you just didn't know.
I was smarter than I thought I was.
Ben Beuhler, also known as Desrath, is a patron of ours, and on patreon.com/mclasspodcast, you can suggest us collections and we'll do them.
We have to. It's like a contract.
It's the law. We will get thrown off the internet if we don't do what you say.
The law.
So
the law.
I am the law. So give us your money.
I was doing Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, the law! And then they have to do the cross-dressing part.
I should have done the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd. The law!
The law!
The law!
Oh, God, we should watch that. Oh, fuck.
Maybe we will.
Watch that.
Maybe we'll watch that.
I saw that in the movie theater. Oh, my God.
I actually did. No, I didn't see that one in the movie theater.
I remember seeing that. Like, there was like a string of like really fucking amazing Stallone 90s movies.
It depends on how you look at amazing. Yeah.
There was Demolition Man.
Well, Demolition Man is legitimately amazing. I love
that movie.
Cobra came out in the 90s.
No, Cobra was 87.
Oh, God. You know, Garrick was in that.
I did know that, but I don't remember. I don't think I've seen Cobra in probably 20 years.
He plays the shitty police officer who's super by the book. And then
just like Garrick.
Cobra punches him out at the end of the movie, and you're supposed to feel good about it.
He also married Brigitte Nielsen because of that movie.
Oh, yeah?
I think they were married for like 2 days.
Jesus.
And then he was
she married Flavor Flav.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah, she was married Brigitte Nielsen.
Ooh.
That's my Sylvester Stallone impression. It's just like mumbling.
Yeah. Ooh. That's mine.
Yeah, I was in that movie one time with her name was Brigitte Nielsen, and she was.
It's like he's on the show right now.
He is. He's my roommate, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, man. I'm just coming downstairs to get some milk. You know, first. I was gonna drink 6 eggs. You know, so.
It's like so addicting to do.
It really is fun.
It's hard to stop.
Anyway, the Defection Collection is all episodes about defectors defecting. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you.
Yeah, it's like a political term.
And ironically, or fittingly, we're going to be starting with the Next Generation episode, The Defector.
I mean, we really nailed the landing. Or the start? Wait.
It's the start.
We really nailed the run-up here.
Ben Beuhler actually suggested all the episodes we're doing except the Enterprise episode we're doing.
Which one's the Enterprise one?
Oh, shit. Now I don't remember. But anyway, if you would like to know what episode it is, you can head on over to our Twitter, which is @MClassPodcast, and take a look at our pinned tweet.
I'm doing it right now. It's called Demons, and it's fairly late in the series. I don't remember this one at all.
We'll talk about it in several episodes from now.
Oh, it's this one.
But today we're going to be talking about The Defector, which is Season 3, Episode 10 of TNG. It is written by a little unknown writer you may have never heard of named Ronald D. Moore.
Yes.
Who you may know a little bit of background information about because he was the genius mind behind Deep Space Nine and wrote all the best episodes.
And that's pretty much all he did, according to Jeff.
Yeah. He did some other show like Babylon 5 or something. But
yes, he did Babylon 5. More Babylon.
I watched it. This is another fucking tangent or whatever, right?
That's
like,
fine.
Everybody loves it when we don't talk about what we're supposed to talk about. So, I watched an episode of Babylon 5 on TV the other day. It's on the Comet Network, which you can get with rabbit ears.
Yeah, Comet. I know Comet.
And yeah, I told you about it, is why you know.
Yeah.
I taught you the truth, showed you the light of shitty old sci-fi shows.
That's the light.
But I watched an episode of Babylon 5 on it, and there was a Victorian man who was torturing a woman for the entire episode, and then at the end it turned out that he was time-displaced Jack the Ripper. So I'm guessing that show is fucking aces.
I watched that entire series, and I can tell you literally nothing about it.
Like I was reading a synopsis of like all the characters, and even the Wikipedia page can't tell me who the main character of that show is.
There isn't one. I guess it's the commander who turns into the president later.
Yeah, but he's not in it for 90% of the show.
I know. He just like takes vacations, and he's like, I was Tron. I used to send. Did I send you that GIF or that clip of them being on like the gray alien on trial?
Yeah, you did show that one to me. That one is hilarious.
It's like the funniest thing that shouldn't be funny of all time. It's so good.
It's pretty expertly crafted, and then like I expected something okay in the episode I saw, but it was just terrible. It was just awful.
I don't want to like over speak or whatever, but like there's a couple seasons that deal with like a bigger kind of like a Borg like war.
Sure,
that get good, and that's really the only thing I remember.
Well, I mean, there are episodes that if you didn't know anything about, like, Star Trek and you tuned into, you'd be like, this show's fucking terrible. Why do people like this?
Yeah.
So, it's probably the same thing. Like, Babylon 5 was super popular for a reason.
Yeah, but I think... This is, like, a whole other topic.
We're not going to get into this.
I feel like it's only popular because, like, it really, for a long time, was, like, one of the only things, right? Like...
could be.
I don't know. There's a lot there, but like it's a real fucking slow burn, dude.
This episode was written by Robert Shearer, who wrote a ton of episodes of TNG, a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really super of note for him is that he was nominated for an Emmy 3 separate times.
Did he win one?
No.
Well then, get fucked. You Emmy-less bitch.
Could you imagine that? You get nominated 3 fucking times and you don't win one.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, right?
Probably so. It's interesting to note, probably above all else, that he directed The Measure of a Man.
Oh fuck yeah! Well, this episode's great too. I'll have to like bury the lead here or whatever.
Yeah, I guess we know how you feel about this episode now.
I mean, I've talked about this episode on another show that I used to do called what was it called?
I have to remember the name of your old shows. It was called Syndication Station.
That's we talked about this. This was like one of the first ones we did, and this episode's great.
Just go listen to that episode. This one's over now. Bye.
Actually, don't do that.
Yeah, listen to only M Class. That's the only podcast you ever need to listen to.
That's the only podcast you need.
So Ronald D. Moore wrote this. I think that's very important to keep in mind because, not to pull a Josh or anything, but this episode's really fucking great.
Yep. I just said that.
So let's hop right into it.
I can't believe Ed Sheeran's dad directed this.
Oh my god.
That's crazy to think about. If you think about it, it's crazy.
You know what's crazy to think about is what Ed Sheeran looks like.
That is actually crazy. He looks like this guy I used to know when I lived in another town, whose name was Seamus.
I think you've told me that before.
He looks like that guy. He reminds me of him. My ex-girlfriend worked with him.
So everybody gets that reference, right? He looks like Seamus from Pennsylvania.
I was always like, this guy looks weird.
He does.
I never said that.
He does look weird. I feel bad making fun of how somebody looks, but come on!
But come on, Ed Sheeran.
Come on!
I mean, you're famous.
Be handsome. What are you doing?
Trim your eyebrows.
Like, I'm handsome and I'm not even famous.
I know.
Get your shit together.
Get it straight together.
Anyway. This episode begins with a Shakespeare play where Captain Picard is both watching and playing a character somehow.
I always thought that was great, because, like, you know that Jean-Luc Picard, played by Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, same guy.
Patrick Stewart was like, hey, I really want to do some Shakespeare, and they're like, all right, I guess we'll figure out a way to do that.
For sure. That's probably where the holodeck came from. He was just like, can I do Shakespeare on this? And they were like, we'll figure it out.
I think, like, the funniest part about it is that they put him in, like, super cheeseball makeup to look like a old English, like, battle-scarred guy, right? And it's like, this is Star Trek, and all they did was put, like, shitty, goofy-ass makeup on.
It's a little bit better than Data, who's wearing a yellow pageboy wig, and everything else is just Data.
Yeah.
It's such a weird scene, because usually if an actor is playing a character in the holodeck, it's the character playing the other character,
right.
But it's not this time.
But this is supposed to just be another guy, a holodeck guy.
It's the holodeck guy who just happens to look like Captain Picard. I do have a headcanon for that.
Oh, really?
The headcanon is that
Data made him that way?
No, that's a previous performance, like a recording of Captain Picard playing that character.
Like a Mario Kart time trial of him.
Holy fuck, it's a Mario Kart ghost. You're right.
Yep. That's great.
You put it in terms I understood.
I made it so people understood it.
I know video game. But, like, Data's trying to learn about the human condition, and Picard says the best way to learn about the human condition is through Shakespeare, which I feel like a lot of high schoolers would disagree with.
Yeah, it's a very British interpretation of humans, but I mean, I guess he's, like, one of the greatest, like, writers of all time, but...
I've never read Henry V, which is what this play is that they're doing.
I enjoy Henry V. I enjoy the, like, story more than I enjoy, like, I don't know, I think Henry V, for me, is, like, the most accessible Shakespeare. There's a lot of Shakespeare where you're
I mean, I've never read it, so I don't know.
Just, like, the lines, like, that, like, they're more understandable to me. Like, I get, like, the poetry of it more, maybe. I don't know. I'm not, like, big into plays, so I don't know.
Do you have a favorite Shakespeare play, though? Because mine is Macbeth.
Yeah, Macbeth's all right. I don't know.
Fuck you, Shakespeare.
Much Ado About Nothing? I don't.
Midsummer's Night Dream is pretty good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But you know, they get interrupted because they found some unidentified, like, spacecrafts are coming out of the Romulan neutral zone.
But I wanted to say, sorry, I don't.
Oh no, go ahead.
I want to say, like, the subject matter of Henry V is, like, super on in this episode. Like, Henry V, like, so Data's, like, the king, right?
Yeah, like, they explained what was happening in the scene for, like, shitty laymen who don't know anything,
dummies,
like me.
Like dum-dums, yeah.
So I was thankful for that they were like, yeah, he dressed up and hung out amongst his troops to learn about their fears and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. I'm not stupid anymore.
It's the night before, like, this huge battle, and, like, Henry V, like, really loves his troops, and he's like, I need to know what they're thinking, and I need to get in their heads, and I'm a good king. That's like the point. It's like to die for a good king. It's a very old.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's like, oh yeah, I would gladly die for the king, and these two guys are like, nah, dude, what?
Yeah, because he's like the king, and he's like, why wouldn't you? And they're like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, you're the king because of like birth, dude. That was a fluke. Like
you tripped into that one, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, it fits into the subject matter of the rest of the episode very well.
Which I love when they do this shit. I love it.
Like, all the best episodes of Star Trek have a B plot that relates very heavily to the A plot.
Yeah.
This episode is mostly A plot, though.
There's not a lot of B plot. I don't think there's like any B plot in this one.
It's like you just get this little teaser bit at the beginning that plays into the rest of the episode.
Right. Which is very Ronald D. Moore.
Yeah. Like, Ronald D. Moore is like a no-frills kind of writer. Like, he wants the story to be... And, like, the characters, especially, to be the main part of the story. Like, everything else that happens is secondary.
Some would say that's what makes him a great writer.
Yeah. Like
they would be Josh Henderson.
I wouldn't say no frills. It's probably not the way to put it. Nothing's superfluous.
Yes. It's like, it's a very distilled version of this. Yes.
I feel like I would like to know the editor of this episode as well, because it's a very tight episode.
Ed Sheeran.
And
he was like, your body's so wonderful. I don't know what Ed
that
Sheeran
is not even the same song.
I don't know. They're all the same to me.
He got his face caught in the editing machine in this guy. That was very mean. That was very mean.
Is that what really happened?
I'm sorry, Robert Shearer and your son, Ed Sheeran. So Picard goes up to the bridge, and there's a Romulan scout ship about to cross the edge of the Romulan neutral zone into Federation space.
Yeah, which is illegal.
There was a treaty of Algernon.
Of 2311 or 09. It's one of those.
I think it's 09.
Treaty of Algernon.
But I'm probably wrong.
2311.
Aha! I was only remembering what you told me, you fucking bitch. But anyway.
Your body is a wonder.
Yeah, man, I love that song, man.
All that stupid music that I love.
But like, they get hailed by the scout ship, and he's like, please, please, I seek asylum. Please help me, please help me.
Yeah.
And like, a Romulan warbird decloaks behind it, and it starts firing on it, and they're like, what the fuck is going on?
They actually say that, which is crazy.
And then they all shrug and look in the camera, and then the credits start.
And they say, boy, this Star Trek is crazy.
This sure is a crazy Star Trek we're on.
I was going to say, then the theme tonight plays. God, we've been together too long.
This is a problem.
This is a serious problem.
Anyway, like, the warbird's firing, and Picard's like, all right, red alert, we're gonna try and call the warbird and be like, hey, cut it out. But they won't answer. And
yeah, they're just shooting at this little other tiny warbird, like a shuttle warbird.
Yeah, it's a scout ship.
Yeah.
So you
can play those scout ships in Star Trek Armada too.
Man, I haven't thought about Star Trek Armada in a long time.
Those are good games.
Well, we gotta stream video games at some point. Maybe we'll do that.
Oh man, I wouldn't even know how to do that. It might be like, dude, old computer games. This is all. Whatever.
Playing old computer games are really difficult. Like, I want to play Elite Forces.
Yeah,
I really want to play that, but
I think you can do that on Steam.
Anyway, they raise the shields and they extend them around the scout ship.
To protect it, because if the Romulans fire on the Enterprise, that's war.
Yeah,
baby.
so they immediately turn around and leave, which is very suspect.
You never trust a Romulan. Look, I'm gonna get a little racist here.
So, yeah, well, let's not get racist or anything about these green-blooded hobgoblins.
Yeah, I mean, they're super evil, and all of them are terrible. But
Jesus Christ.
That got, like, really, really bad there.
We got a spacist up here. Space racist.
We'll see if they stay that way, though. I don't know. We haven't finished the episode yet.
No, they definitely won't continue to be shitty forever, but...
Not forever.
They, they figure out that the life support systems on the scout ship are down. Yeah. So they beam the sole occupant on board, and when they go to the transporter room, he's like all burnt up on one side, and he's all like got a janky arm.
He looks like Ed Sheeran.
Oh, this is gonna be a bully heavy episode. If you're not into bullying, don't listen to this episode, everybody.
He's got red hair. I can make fun of
him. He's like, I need to see the captain. And they're like, no, you gotta go to sickbay. You got Ed Sheeran burns. And he's like he's like, I don't know who that is.
He's like, there's no time. He's like very upset.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a logistics officer.
Lieutenant something. I don't know.
Does he tell a name?
Yeah, he tells him a name. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
The name. I don't have the thing. I didn't look up the
He's like a filing clerk or something. He's
a logistics clerk, right? So
yeah.
Like he does.
He's like, I've got vital information for your everyday life. And that was a reference to all that.
Oh my god.
Remember that?
I didn't think it was all that.
I did.
I didn't.
I liked it when it had salt and pepper on.
Oh yeah, that was cool. And Spinderella,
DJ Spinderella.
Oh, I love Spinderella. She never got the play she deserved.
No. DJs were getting phased out at that point. Anyway.
Yeah. They were like, we don't need somebody to like push the button. We can just like do that.
Yeah. But he's like, look, the Romulans are fucking pissed off because they got spanked at the Battle of Chiron.
Yeah, they did get spanked by that.
And they're like, we're done with the Treaty of Algernon. We're gonna take over all the planets with our evil death rays.
Yeah, so they're Nelvana 3, right? It's
yeah.
Like there's gonna he says that the Romulans are building a base on Nelvana 3, and Riker is like, we have like listening posts, like, and we didn't like pick up on this, like, so yeah, Riker's already like,
yeah, how could we not have picked up any information about this at all? Like, you can't build something directly under our noses that we wouldn't know about.
Yeah, like there would be like all kinds of signs, like there's no way.
But like he's like, well, we did, and it's gonna be operational in 48 hours. Like, we have no time. You have to believe me.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is it? 2 days. In 2 days, there's going to be a fleet of Romulan warbirds that are going to swoop down and just murder your whole family.
It's crazy. 15 sectors, which is a lot, I think.
It's crazy amount of space. Like, think about it this way. When you see the map of Star Trek space, and they have the squares.
The cubes?
Yeah, the squares are sectors. And 15 sectors.
It's a big area.
It's fucking big. Crazy.
Oh, Sub-Lieutenant Sital.
Yes, Sital. They finally take him to sickbay, and he's like, so you're going to want to question me later, right? And Picard's like...
I love this.
Picard's like, yeah, right.
He's like, no doubt.
Yeah. Like, already, like, Sital's, like, pissed. He's not being taken seriously.
It's so good. Like, the subtext is so good, because, like, this is after the whole Admiral, what's his name, incident. The other guy who may or may not show up. Tomalak.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Picard and everyone's like, they're getting used to this Romulan shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
Romulans trick you into making the first step so that they can pretend like they're being attacked.
So Picard is like super poker face. Like, he is just like, well, okay.
He gets fucking heated later in the episode, but now he's super poker face.
Because, like, who even fucking knows, right? Like, this whole thing is fishy as fuck.
The thing is, like, he's faced with an insurmountable decision at this point that, like, either way could cause war with the Romulans.
Which I love, because, like, you know he's not going to make the first move. Like, out of all the ships and all the captains in Starfleet, like, the Romulans super fuck up because Picard isn't there, and there's no accounting for how smart he is.
Although they do make the first move, they just cover their ass, but we'll get to that.
Right.
But LaForge is like psyched because he's like, finally I can see some Romulan technology, right? Like, send us over to that ship that we saved, and I can pick it apart, and we can learn some weaknesses.
Right.
And then the ship fucking explodes
Good thing
instantaneously.
Good thing nobody was over there.
Like, the secret word for the day, the Pee-wee's Playhouse secret word was Romulan technology, and it just fucking explodes.
And Cherry flies out the window, and you're like, Cherry, no! Do you know I saw Cherry in real life?
Really?
Cherry was in the Guggenheim.
That's
I
awesome.
went to the guy who's an artist who I don't remember his name, who did all the artwork for that show and all the props and stuff.
Oh, I don't remember.
He did there's a documentary about him called Beauty is Embarrassing. He did the Smashing Pumpkins Tonight Tonight video.
It's a good video.
He did a bunch of shit. REM video he did.
I saw the original Kermit. That's definitely not him.
Kermit. It's his girlfriend.
What's her name?
Her name
Josh?
is Pigzilla.
Pigzilla. That's her.
I'm a bitch, but I'm a puppet.
Wow. We're just upsetting fans of Ed Sheeran, fans of Miss Piggy.
Who's a fan of Miss Piggy? Nobody.
Everybody loves Miss Piggy.
I don't love Miss Piggy.
I like Kermit.
I prefer Rizzo. Wait, no,
Rizzo the rat?
I like the Pepe, the new one. I liked him.
Pepe's not new. He's the shrimp.
But he was relatively new.
Yeah, well, he was like in the movies.
I like in Muppets from Space when he is invisible or whatever, and like he walks by the guy smoking. He's like, "Smoking is bad for you, okay?" And the guy's like, "What?" That's a good part of that.
That is a good part. Anyway. Where the fuck was I? Oh yeah,
the ship explodes.
Yeah, and so they all go to sickbay to talk to Sub-Lieutenant Setal, which is definitely his name.
Ed Sheeran.
And he's like, "Look, I'm not a traitor. I blew up my ship so you couldn't like learn our secrets." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah, we're not off to a good start here. That's what
Yeah.
they're like. They're like, this is not a great defection by any means.
And Setal is like, "Dr. Crusher, it's cool that you know Romulan medicine, and also you're very attractive in this episode." He says that.
Yeah, he says that with his eyes.
And she's like, "Yeah, I had some experience." And
Sucking Romulan wieners.
No, she looks right at Worf, who sucked the wieners. And he's like...
Oh, yeah.
And Worf's like, "Boo.
I'm Worf.
I don't... That wasn't Worf. That was the Chancellor.
I'm the Chancellor.
That was a different Chancellor.
Chancellor Palpatine.
But Worf's like, "How the hell did the clerk know about what happened at Galordan Core?"
Yeah, because like it's a smart move on Crusher's part, because she says like, "Oh, I've had some experience." Like she gets it out of him. Maybe she doesn't do it willingly, but if she does, it's really genius. Because like
she may be playing good cop. She does that several times
she
throughout
could be
the series.
good cop. Yeah,
But I love the name Galordan Core.
it's a
big
fucking
fan.
great name.
But Setal like starts calling Worf like a patak and shit, like just cursing him out.
Calls him a coward, which is like super not a good idea.
Yeah, but Worf leaves instead because Riker's like, "Hey, why don't you not kill this guy real quick?"
Yeah, don't kill this guy because that would suck.
But then Riker like insults him in Romulan.
Yeah, which is great because he fucking stepped to his boy. He's not gonna let him do
don't
that.
fucking talk to my boy like that.
I'm not gonna let a Romulan Varul say that about my Worf.
My love. But Setal has like a weird moment where he's like, "Ha ha ha! I like that Worf."
Yeah, it's man.
And then he's like, "He's just the type of guy who could get us all killed."
That's such a great line.
It is.
As soon as he said that, I was like, oh man, that is like the most true ass fucking shit.
It is true, and it makes you wonder, right? Like this whole episode is a seesaw.
Yeah.
It's on one side of the seesaw is he is a defector from the Romulans. He's come here of his own free will, and he's trying to stop a war. Right. The other side is he is a spy. He was sent here with all this false information specifically to fuck us all.
Yeah, this is a setup, right?
Do you ever find it funny that whenever we're talking about the Federation, we say us and we sometimes?
No, because that's what we're on a space station, of course.
We're on a satellite M.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Anyway, I don't know why I even asked that. What a stupid question.
Where do you think we are right now? On Earth, in our houses, which we don't own?
No. Well, we definitely don't own them. But
well, you know what I mean.
But Riker takes Sital to his quarters, and Sital is like, I want some water.
Yeah.
And the computer's like, what temperature?
Right.
And there's a great moment which like plays into his characterization later, where he gives the temperature in like Romulan units.
Yeah, whatever their scale is.
And the computer is like, well, I need it in Celsius, and he gets pissed off.
Yeah.
And that plays into his character later because he's so like terrified of never seeing his home again.
Right.
And that moment makes him so mad because even the knowledge he has won't work now that he can't return to his home.
Yeah, it's a really subtle Ronald D. Moore-esque way of like subconsciously showing you like what this means for him.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's got to learn Celsius, which also like I don't know what Celsius
I don't really know Celsius very well either, so
like so I was like, I also hate Celsius.
Which you think, being born in the 24th century when we don't use Fahrenheit anymore, we wouldn't have learned it, but whatever, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we should definitely probably be using Celsius, if only because, like, everyone else fucking uses it,
yeah.
So, like, whatever.
I've been trying to teach myself some of that, like, little by little over the years.
The formula is, like, 9/5 times F minus 32 or something
It's
like that.
really tough to retrain your mind when you've known something one way your entire life.
Well, Fahrenheit is more precise, honestly. So like 75 and 85 is a big difference to us, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think the difference in Celsius is like 25 to 28. So it's like there's like more like room.
That's true.
Fahrenheit.
There's no one-to-one comparison between degrees.
You have to go points.
Yeah.
Which like you could do, but at that point, like, why don't you just use Fahrenheit?
It's a good question. Rest of the world.
Get on our level, you dicks.
The lower level where
Get
we're
on the
at.
shitty level we're at right now.
But Sital, which I would like to point out, I always have the memory alpha open to remind me of specific parts.
Well, way to tell him that.
I've already told him like 8 times throughout the run of the show.
Definitely no.
But I don't really pay attention to it until I've forgotten a name or something.
Yeah, you gotta find it real quick.
I wanted to point out that Sital is written with quotation marks every time it's mentioned in this entire article.
Yeah, so it's kind of like spoiling the super unpredictable turn that nobody
ever saw it
knew.
coming.
Yeah.
But he sits down on his bed and he takes out like Alka-Seltzer tablet from his boot.
It's like a Necco wafer.
Yeah, it is a Necco wafer.
The worst candy ever made.
God, yeah, black licorice is way
Licorice
worse.
is definitely worse.
But this is another one of those moments where the seesaw teeters very heavily towards him being the spy.
I'd just like to point out that the seesaw is also the deadliest of playground equipment. I'm like actually pretty sure that's accurate.
Well, they don't make them anymore, really.
Yeah, because kids like die from them and shit.
It's like the thing that you spin around on, right?
Oh, those things would fuck you up.
Yeah,
dude.
literal broken bodies were made from that shit.
Like flailing arms.
Yeah.
We used to spin them around as hard as we could and then like stick our hands and legs out to try to kick kids.
Oh my god, that would just break your leg.
Yeah, well, to take that guy with me, you know?
That's true, straight to hell.
Fuck you, Timmy.
But we return to the bridge and Data's like, we haven't found any, there's no activity out there. Like, none of our sensors are picking up anything.
Yeah, nothing's going on.
And
so something's up.
And Picard's like, well, our sensors aren't strong enough at this distance to figure out what's happening.
Yeah, he's kind of trying to like, I guess he's trying to like overthink the problem, right? Like,
sure. They do get like a subspace communication, which was sent 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
This is where Star Trek gets a little iffy on its science, right?
Right.
On the technology, anyway. Because in tons of episodes of Star Trek, they talk it like live with people all the way across the galaxy. But for some reason, these are like pre-recorded messages and they can't talk live with each other.
I don't... I'm trying to like play devil's advocate, which
sure, I love that.
I tend to, as we discussed. But like, like sometimes like subspace works instantly, and sometimes it doesn't work instantly.
It
which
could
is
be
like,
a distance thing because they're right at the edge of the neutral zone at this point.
I guess they're like Galornan Core is pretty far away, and I guess they're kind of close to Galornan Core. I don't know.
Like they're right at the edge of the neutral zone.
Yeah, but that's not too far away from where they're... Because, like...
Shut up, Josh.
I'm thinking, because, yeah, so it's not that far away. I don't... Maybe they're on, like, some sort of, like, silent running mode. I don't fucking know.
I'm not sure. It is important to point out that the admiral that sends the message is the same admiral from Measure of a Man.
Yeah, they do a really good job of, like, keeping that consistent, which
I like, because in most other appearances of admirals, it's always just a different guy every time.
Or lady.
There are a lot of lady admirals.
Sexist bastard.
There was a very, very mean lady admiral that I
Admiral
remember.
Nechayev.
Yeah,
Admiral Nechayev.
Admiral Bitchayev, yeah.
Damn, she is a mean-ass lady, dude.
She, like, I've never met anyone that likes her. Like, there's always those people who like Captain Jellicoe.
Yeah, but...
Like, I love asshole bosses. Like, whatever, right? But, like, no one likes Nechayev.
Now, Nechayev will fuck your life up, dude.
Yeah. Like, literally, she will fuck your life up.
She's probably super awesome to hang out with, though, like, sexually.
I was waiting for that to loop back around to sex somehow.
I kind of like it when, like, they can hit you a lot, and I kind of like that.
I see that we have different taste in women.
I like when they can fuck your life up a little bit.
I'm not a big fan of that. I like not getting my life fucked up.
Oh, that's no fun if there's no life getting fucked up, Brisk.
Agree to disagree.
Sir, let's agree to disagree.
But, the message is, like, the Federation Council got, like, officially petitioned by the Romulan government to return the Defector. And they're like, fuck you, no.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
And they're like, look, Picard, it's up to you now. Like, we can't make any decisions from here. Like, you're on the cusp of the situation.
You're on your own. What's the line? He says, like, I have a feeling this is all going to, like, fall on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, whether we go to war or not.
And Picard sighs heavingly, because who fucking wouldn't?
And then he looks at the camera and he goes, it's 11.
He looks right at the camera and says, how am I gonna get out of this one?
And then they take a commercial, which is what we should do.
We'll take a commercial and we'll be right back after these messages.
Stadium. O2 customers get Ed Sheeran tickets 48 hours before general release. Download Priority on your app store.
And we're back with more M-Class goodness.
Oh man, I enjoyed the shit out of that advertisement.
Hopefully that advertisement makes you buy the good and/or service.
I think I already know what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah? Don't tell me.
I won't. You won't ever hear it because you never listen.
Yeah, I'll never know what it is, but I bet it's good. When we left our heroes, they were all gathering on the bridge. It's Picard, Data, Crusher, and Geordi.
Geordi's here?
Geordi's here.
How's Geordi been?
He's all right. He's doing all right. He still can't find a lady, but he's doing okay otherwise.
You know, it's tough.
But he's like, look at this footage, right? Like, the warbird that was chasing Sital's ship slowed down on purpose every time the ship in front of it slowed down.
Which is stupid. If you're trying to catch him, why wouldn't you just shoot him to death?
It's really questionable. What the fuck? Actually, what possible reason could you come up with besides him being fake, right?
Yeah, there's one reason, and that's like an evidence to suggest that this is all bullshit.
Yeah, and Picard's like, well, what about his wounds, right? Like, could he have inflicted them on himself? And like, Crusher's kind of like hesitant to admit it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to admit it.
But he could have.
Of course he could have. He's Romulan. They're duplicitous.
They learn that the USS Monitor and the USS Hood are on their way, but they're never going to get there in this episode. It's not going to happen.
Named after the first Union ironclad Civil War ship.
The Hood?
The Monitor.
The Monitor.
Okay. The Hood is a British ship.
Well, the Hood can suck my dick, then.
It can suck my hood.
Anyway.
I'm circumcised.
Hey, me too. Anyway.
Well, we are white guys from America.
That's true. Most of us are.
We do things a little stupider down here.
I mean, most of us are circumcised, not most of us are white dudes from America.
Yeah, I know you, man.
Though, I'm sure if you look at the listener base of the show, there are a lot of white dudes from America who are listening.
All three of them.
But, like, all the Federation star bases, outposts, starships are all on alert. And they're like, look, we don't want a war, but we're gonna do a war if they start a war.
Do some war. War were declared.
We're gonna war were declare on
what
this
does that
war.
button mean? War were declared.
And so they're like, Picard, it's up to you.
Yeah, this is super
No pressure.
This is not a great situation.
No. Could you imagine being like, imagine if this wasn't happening to the Enterprise?
That's what I mean. Like, the Romulans really luck out in the sense that, like, I mean, I guess that's why the Enterprise is over there, right? Like, they're there because, like, that's the cream of the crop, right? Like, that ship is the ship to do this.
Imagine if this happened to, like, Jellicoe's ship, and he was like, all right, pretend I'm mad, and I don't want to talk to him, and tell him that he has to wait in my office.
Also, you're fired.
You're fired because you looked at me wrong.
I hope RoboCop doesn't kill me.
My name definitely isn't Dick Jones.
Dick Jones.
Dick Jones! I work for Dick Jones!
Oh, man. I want to watch that now.
RoboCop is my favorite movie.
I love that movie as a child.
They launch a Class 1 probe to Nelvana 3.
Yep.
And he has data record events. He's like, your dispassionate viewpoint is necessary.
Oh man, that part really makes me like, it hits me because like I love history. Like I'm like a layman history fanatic.
It's a history
like,
buff.
The idea that like Picard is so smart to realize that like he just has this living recording device, really, like an impartial history machine.
Yeah, like he's there's a part in him like that would be in all of us that fears that like history is going to view him as like a warmonger who started this war on purpose or something.
Right. But even just like because Picard also loves history, like just like think about like if like Herodotus had like a tape recorder, right? Like what we would have, like because history is always skewed, like no matter what you do.
The victors write the history.
There's something immediately lost in the translation because like a human being is processing the information and writing it down, so you're losing valuable facts. What did Abraham Lincoln eat the day he got shot? Like, I don't think anybody knows that, right?
No.
Like,
I mean, the details of history are lost. It's all the grand scheme of things.
Right.
So you never know the reasons behind anything for the most part.
You don't know the real precise reason unless you have like science, which is why I love like this like relatively new like forensic history that's going on now, where like people are finding things and using science to like piece together like the scientific reasons why things may have happened. Anyway,
it's crazy that the further away from the historical point in time that we get, the better we're getting at understanding that point.
That is crazy. And it's like very Star Trek. Not to like loop back around, but like that's exactly what Star Trek is.
We need to get looped back around to talking about the episode.
What? Are we doing a show? What?
Yeah, we're doing a show.
I thought I was just talking to you about it. Oh.
But it loops back around in the show to the beginning play that Data was practicing King Henry V. Because Picard mentions that like he can't be Henry V. He can't disguise himself and walk amongst his men on the eve of battle, or maybe not battle. Who knows?
Yeah, this like super momentous point in history, which like Picard seems to have been born for. Like Picard in Star Trek is like think of any, like in America we have a few of these people, like George Washington. We always sort of say like he was made to have done what he did, right?
True. I mean, like
World War II heroes, like that we heroify. We always say that about like guys that were there to like save our ass from the fire, right? Like,
there are people that are 100% of their time.
Yeah.
Whether they were like heroic or not. Like Alexander the Great was a man of his time.
Right. Usually they're generals or like just like Picard and Jirac, who, you know, like you sort of like say like, oh, these guys were heroes, but to another person they're super villains, right?
Yeah, I mean, we deify George Washington in this country, but he did some pretty heinous shit in his lifetime.
Well, he owned people. So
which is pretty fucking heinous.
Yeah, and that's like one of the worst ones you could do.
Yeah, out of all of them, I think it's pretty fucking high up there.
Yeah, it's like maybe second to like owning people and like maybe raping and murder them, which maybe he did that too.
We don't know. That's another thing from history that's lost. We don't really know.
I mean, some of those people definitely died, and they didn't die because like he didn't like have a hand in it, right? So,
yeah. I guess like second-degree murder or whatever, third-degree
manslaughter.
murder.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the episode, Riker and Troy interrogate Setal, and they just continually ask him all these questions about like the Romulan strongholds, bases,
troops and stuff,
their movement schedules, their firepower.
Right.
And all he says is like, I was a logistics officer. I only worked in one sector.
Right.
And I was under Admiral Jirac, which will come back into play later.
I like how he snaps. He's like,
Irrelevant!
It's so good.
He's so fucking... This actor is great, and he comes back a bunch of times.
He's in Star Trek a million times. What do I know him from? He's from a show. His name is James Sloyan, which is a really cool name. He's from some 80s show.
He's from that 70s show.
He's on a million things. He's like one of these dudes, right?
Yeah, he was a ton of shit and a ton of shit.
But he's in some sort of show that like he was like the guy, like the dad.
He was in Party of Five.
No, he's fuck. Oh my god, Three's Company. He's when Don Knotts leaves, he's the guy who replaces Don Knotts.
Really?
Yes, that's him.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I guess you gotta make a living, right?
I guess so. I think that's him, right?
I don't know. It doesn't say anything about that
I just said it was, so it's true.
Well, it's canon to this podcast.
Mr. Roper? No, that's not him.
No. But he comes back several times. He's Dr. Pol from DS9, the guy who found Odo.
Odo, yeah.
He's adult Alexander Rozhenko from Firstborn.
No.
Yes.
That's him?
Not the kid, the one from like the future.
Yeah, that's him?
Yeah, that's him.
What's his name? He's got like a fake name. It's
Kimtar.
Kimtar, yes.
And he's also Jetrel from the Voyager episode.
Sure, everyone doesn't care about that. Let's move on.
Anyway, he like refuses to answer any questions about Romulan's fleet. He maintains that he's a patriot, which is it doesn't work if you're a defector. You can't be both.
Yeah, there's some really cool like stories. Not to get off on another tangent, but there's some really awesome stories about like Soviet pilots who defected to America. How they would like bring them to like supermarkets because like they didn't believe like because they were propagandized and they didn't believe that like America was like as prosperous as like was thought.
Yeah.
So they would be like pull over here, like at the supermarket, thinking like that they couldn't like the government couldn't have possibly set up all these fake supermarkets, right?
Right.
And they would go into these supermarkets and the guys would just be like, there's so much food here. Like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, this is how it is here.
Yeah, we got a lot of food.
Yeah. There's supermarkets everywhere, dude.
We waste a lot of food here.
Yeah, we're horrible here.
But, there's a specific moment where that seems like a throwaway. Mm-hmm. Where, they receive a priority message from a Klingon ship.
Yeah.
And Worf goes to deal with it because he's the token, right?
Sure.
This episode and a lot of other TNG episodes make me think that like they're all a little racist against Worf, right? They're always sending him to talk to his own kind,
sense.
and
I mean, it makes sense. He knows how to talk to Klingons. Like, I think that's okay. Like,
I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. In like a modern context, it would be like if like during World War II, like when you were talking to like they were sending a message to like Japanese soldiers or something.
Yeah, but like if
they had a Japanese guy do it.
Yeah, but if you had somebody who spoke fluent Japanese, like you absolutely would do that.
Well, if they had universal translators, it wouldn't make much sense, would it?
Yeah, but like you wouldn't. That's the thing. Like the subtlety, man. Like you could have like maybe he knows like things that the translators like can't translate.
He grew up in Russia, goddammit. Like he doesn't know. I get where it's coming from. It's like a different situation. It's not along racial lines, it's along political lines.
It's a political, cultural lines. Like,
yeah.
I think it's fair to say like that you would use all the tools in the toolbox, right?
Sure.
Like
if I was the Klingon captain, I would be really pissed that the captain of the ship I just saved did not thank me. He just sent the security officer to thank me. But anyway, Data and Geordi.
Klingon of you, Jeff.
You fucking know it, baby.
That's like later Klingons when they're like really starting to get all like mad about stuff again.
Data and Geordi are like looking at the probe information that they sent out.
Yeah.
And they're picking up radio communications and ion disturbances from the planet.
Well, there's your fucking fleet, dude.
Yeah, they're like, these are obviously like cloaked somethings on that planet. We can't detect a base, we can't detect anything on the planet's surface, but why would these radio signals and ion disturbances exist if there's nothing out there?
Man, the Romulans are such dicks.
They really are.
This is like such an elaborate carrot on the stick. It's so crazy.
The lengths they had to go to...
It's crazy.
...are crazy. And then they get completely fucked over by 2 more ships appearing. The whole plan.
I love how just, like, fucked up their society is. Not because, like, I love that they're fucked up or whatever, but because, like, it's such, like, a stark, like... If we don't watch our shit, we're gonna be like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole society of cloak and dagger. Like, nothing is truth.
It's exhausting. It's gotta be so exhausting.
But we cut to 10 forward, where Data is staring directly at Setal, like, unblinkingly staring at him.
Great.
And Setal's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, leave me alone, dummy.
And he's like, wait, you're the android.
Yeah.
There's a ton of Romulan cyber guys who would love to study you. And Data's like, I don't believe I would like that.
Yeah, he's like, I don't find the prospect of that appealing.
But Data and Setal start talking about how Setal will never be able to go back to Romulus. And that actor does some amazing acting in this scene where he's just like so brokenhearted about this, but he's still trying to put it on a tough front.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And
it
Data,
makes you feel for him, which is such a good writing
even though you're
technique.
so sure he's a traitor,
Right.
like he's tricking them at this point.
Not
you
only
still
is
feel
he a
for
traitor,
him.
at best he's a traitor, right? Which is shitty. But at worst, he's like a liar and a spy, which is even worse.
Yeah, but it makes you feel for him still.
Yeah, that's good.
And Data, being like the sweetest sweet boy that ever existed, is like, well, I'll take you to Romulus. Here, check out this holodeck.
Maybe we can bring Romulus to you, right? You can't go back, but maybe we can bring it to you.
And there's a so great scene where Sital is like overjoyed at the sight of Romulus for just a second. And then like the crushing realization that this is fake and he'll never be able to see the real thing again.
Yep.
And he's just like, turn it off. I don't want to see this. Turn it off.
Yep.
And he gets his resolve and he says, I need you to set up a meeting with Captain Picard. Mm-hmm. Tell him Admiral Jirok wishes to speak with him.
Oh my god!
Dun dun dun!
He was Admiral Jirok the whole time, and he pulls his mask off, and it's just him again underneath the mask. Which is crazy. Why was he wearing the first mask?
That must have been very hot. Like, why did he do that?
What a crazy setup.
He takes the mask off and his skin is a very slightly different shade of green underneath it.
Oh, that Admiral Jirok. That's what Data says.
Data's like, oh my god, it is Admiral Jirok.
Oh my god. I'm shocked, and also a robot, so how is that a thing?
Anyway, time for a commercial break. But not for us.
No, we're good. We got some time.
But they get a priority message again. It's a little while later. We flash forward to a little while later. They get a priority message again from the Admiral, who says that Sital is Admiral Jirok. It has been confirmed.
They confirmed it with their whatever, however they do that.
It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
he's responsible for the massacre at the Norcan outposts.
At the Norplant outposts.
The Norcan massacres, they're called.
Yeah. Which I don't know what that's about. I don't know anything about that.
I don't either. I guess I could click on this link and find out, but I'm not gonna.
I'm assuming the Romulans just fuck a bunch of shit up.
Yeah, they like, before the treaty was signed, they murdered a bunch of people. But Picard's like, how can I believe anything you have to say? Like, you say that you're a man of peace, but you're responsible for the massacres at the Norcan outposts. How could I ever trust you or believe you to be a man of peace?
Right.
Jirok does that line that Josh likes a lot, since he mentioned it already, where he says that one man's butcher is another man's hero.
Right. Like, we call them the Norcan campaigns or whatever.
Yeah. And that's how history's written. Like, everything that's called a campaign is really just a massacre.
It's fucked up, man. It really fucks with your brain. Like, I listened to a podcast. It's a really famous podcast called what's it called? Fucking Dan Carlin's history podcast. What the fuck is it called?
Don't ever say the name because then people will listen to that and not this.
Hardcore History is.
Damn it! Bleep that out.
And he does a lot of like objective as subjective as possible, like American history, military history stuff, and he does one about Japanese the bombings in World War II and like the atomic bomb, and that one really will fuck you up.
God, just thinking about that fucks me up.
His argument, his like thesis is like, what's worse, like the one atomic bomb or all the thousands upon thousands of atrocities committed bombing these countries into submission. It's crazy.
I would like to go for zero atrocities if possible, but
yeah, especially the historical accounts of like people finding body parts of their family and shit.
Well, it's just the thing that really the thing that I always bring up in this situation, which is the topic of this podcast, is World War II. The thing I always bring up when people bring up that, like, well, if we hadn't dropped the bombs, then, like, all these people would have died or whatever. But those people were soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, the people who would have died, like, during the war would have been soldiers. They weren't, like, civilians and women and children.
Right. Like, the purpose for the atomic bomb wasn't to save American soldiers. It was to demonstrate that we could blow up a city.
Yeah, it was like, check this shit out.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with us,
We got a new
But,
fun
like,
thing. Check this shit out.
we obliterated 2 cities worth of people.
Yeah. And, like, a pretty terrible... But... I mean, in the podcast, like, he talks about, like, just how terrible all the other things were too.
I don't doubt it. I don't want to listen to it.
It's like almost worse. Like, and that's what's fucked up about it is like that's almost worse than the 2 atomic bombs, which is really crazy.
That's what happened at the Norcan outposts.
Yep, there you go.
So Picard's like, look, are you willing to help us, like, fight the Romulan warbirds? Like, how do we deactivate their cloaking shields? Are you willing to give us this information? And Jirok's like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, look at it from my point of view. Like, you want us to do this thing that could cause a war if we're wrong. But you won't even tell us anything about what we're heading into. You won't give us any of their capabilities. So you have no credibility. You got nothing to stand on.
It's not a great scenario.
And it's like, what did Jirok think was going to happen?
I don't know, man. It really makes you feel fucking bad for him, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's like, doing this thing that at this time we don't know if he really is believable, but like it turns out like he really does give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Which is even more painful for us as the audience, but
it's like so fucked up how torn he is. It really fucking sucks. And that's
he's trying to stop a war.
Yeah, and that's like how fucked up the Romulan. Like, I'm gonna blame the Romulans on this one and say like, this is the kind of person that they create, where like even a good man like what Jirok is like later is completely fucked because like his mind is like twisted around to believe like he's a patriot too. But it's like, how can you be a patriot to a society that just like is this terrible, right? Like,
but
what's the point?
It's sad how closely that relates to real life things.
Yeah, it's great. I love being alive now. It's so fun.
But it's such a great scene where he's like, I can't betray my people, and Picard's fucking pissed at this point. He's like, you already have.
Yeah, you already did that.
You should make your peace.
Yeah.
With what you've done.
Yep.
And then we learn a little bit more about Jirok.
Yeah, we learned about his daughter.
Jirok's like, do you have kids? And Picard's like, no. And Jirok's like, when you look down at your daughter's face and you realize that all you're giving her is a future filled with war.
Yeah.
So he tried to stop the upcoming plans for war with the Romulan High Command. Like, it's gonna destroy the Empire. It's gonna destroy my child. It's gonna destroy all your children. You can't do it. And they're like, look, fuck you.
Right.
We're gonna send you to space Siberia. And so he saw all these like communiques coming through, all this information, and he had to defect. He did it for his baby,
who later becomes Commander Jirok in Star Trek Online,
which is 100% canon.
It is to me. Insert the gif of the guy yelling that in the wrestling thing.
It's real to me.
It's real to me, damn it.
But he has this like really fucking heartfelt moment where he's like, my daughter's gonna grow up and think that I'm a traitor, but at least she'll grow up.
Right, like it's better to be a villain, I guess. Yeah, dude, it's such a fucking thin line. It's so crazy.
The best part about this scene isn't what we learn about Jirok.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't that we as an audience grow to care about this character and feel that he's doing the right thing. Yeah. It's that Picard is completely fucking stone cold after he hears this. He straight up just says, unless you give me your unequivocal cooperation, I'm not doing anything.
It demonstrates like how fucked up, like how hard it is for like one group of people to trust another group of people. Like,
especially the Romulans.
well, that's exactly, and like that sounds like super cold and racist, but the Romulans really do fuck themselves out of like, I mean, eventually, like karmically, like they super get fucked, but like, I mean, like all they have to do is just like not be so psycho, and like they can just be like live normally in a galaxy with like other people, but they can't. They're like incapable of it.
We're 100% spacist on this fucking program.
No, it's their fault. They started it, Jeff. I mean,
if they didn't have green blood, damn it.
Fucking green-blooded pieces of crap. We kicked your ass at the fucking Battle of Charon, you fucks.
Remember Quran, you fuckers.
Never forget, bitch.
Anyway, so Jirok gives him all the information he asked for about the Romulan fleet, where they're at, what they can do, everything.
Yeah.
So they decide to go to Nelvana 3.
Yeah, they're like gonna cross the neutral zone, which is super illegal.
Yeah, it directly violates the Treaty of Algernon.
Not a good idea.
Here's a pro tip for anybody that's going to get into politics or world affairs. Violating treaties is a no-no.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Don't do it.
When they do arrive at Nelvana 3, there's nothing there.
Yep, of course.
There's literally nothing there. There's not even any marks on the planet to show that there was ever anything there.
It's as smooth as a Klingon's second dick.
Is that real?
They have one smoothie dick and one super not smoothie dick.
They got one that looks like their forehead.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Space.
Just like how
fucking
our
spacist.
Well, our dicks look like our foreheads, don't they?
No.
Jeff, put a picture of your dick up on the internet and your forehead. I won't be able to tell the difference.
All right, let me post it.
Yes, tricked him.
Wait.
I mean...
Wait 1 fucking second, Josh. This is a PNG. Hold on.
So close. It's a PNG. It's a little big. The picture, I mean.
You're right. It is a little big. Anyways. They can't find anything, and even all like the radio signals and shit they were reading before are just like orbiting the planet. They're obviously a satellite of some sort.
Yeah, God, fucking.
And so they call Jirok, and he's like, what? But they did the thing, but it was.
Yeah, he bought it. Like, he bought the lie, which is, God, man, like, fucking Romulans, like, what are you doing? You're just wasting your fucking time, like,
dude.
But it's so Sith-like. It's such a dark. I use the Sith because like they're easily comparable, but in real life, it's very fascist. Like,
yeah, it's a very fascist society.
Only the strong survive, right? If you can't handle it, you're done. You're out. Meaning you're dead.
And fucking Picard drops the hammer on him. Where he's just looks him dead in the eyes and he says, perhaps this whole thing could just be a test of your loyalty to the Empire.
Yeah, it's like, he's fucking over it. And I don't blame him, man. I'd have been like, man, this is so crazy.
But fucking, they like turn around real fast. They're like, let's get out of here.
Jesus, Geordi. And he's like, you got it.
You got it, Captain. And he tilts his newsboy cap. And
I was going to say he has a newsy cap on. And he's like, all right, let's get out of here. He's like short round from fucking Indiana Jones.
You got it, Captain. But,
no time for love, Captain Picard.
Like 2 warbirds decloak and start firing. And everybody's like, oh no! We got caught with our pants down.
Exactly.
But Picard's like, don't fire back, Mr. Worf. And Worf's like, but the fuck?
But I love shooting stuff.
When am I gonna get to kill something?
I love photon torpedoes.
But, like, they get hailed by the lead Romulan ship, and it's fucking Commander Tomalak.
Oh, this fuck, dude. Oh my god. This guy is great because he's so evil.
He's so fucking grimy.
He's such a shit.
He's like, well, Captain, it seems I have you at an advantage.
It's so petty. It's such a perfect demonstration of, like, how, like, petty these people are. Like it wasn't enough to, like, start this war almost. Like, really, it was about some dickhead's ego, right? Like, the Romulan Empire as, like, a whole, their ego wouldn't be satisfied unless they catch the captain doing exactly what they caught the Romulans doing, right? It's so fucked up.
This time, you guys started the war, and we're gonna win it.
Now it's your fault, right? It's so dumb. Like, it's just stupid.
Tomalak is, like, deliciously relishing in every fucking word he's saying. Like,
which is gross, because relish is disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Nobody
hate
fucking
relish.
likes relish.
But he's like, our subspace radio signals and ionization were coming from only a cloaked probe sent to conduct archaeological research.
And he, like, twirls his non-existent mustache.
Yeah, he fucking does that smile that the Grinch does, with his whole fucking face.
Yeah, he's so evil. And he's the same color, too.
Oh, no.
Hey, I can't help it that society has made us not like green things because they're aliens. That's, like, the way it goes in our Earth stupid-centric viewpoint.
I guess we know who the real spacist is on the program.
It's not me, I'm saying.
And it's not the Southerner for some reason. But Tomalak's like, I'm gonna take the Enterprise apart piece by piece.
Oh, I love when he's like, I'm gonna display your hull in the square on Romulus. Like, that's so good.
And as a warning to any other potential traitors.
Yeah, like, they're gonna, like, the troops are gonna be inspired by it. I mean, the Enterprise is huge. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna, like, part they're gonna put.
I don't know. Jirok's like, what have you done, Tomalak, you bitch?
You stupid butthole.
And Tomalak is like, I demand the traitor be returned and the Enterprise crew surrender.
Yep.
And Picard's like, nah.
Nah, bro.
And Tomalak's like, I knew you would say that.
Yeah, he thinks he's got him.
He's like, and Picard's like, well, how about this, you green prick? And then
Whoa! Three of them.
Three Klingon ships appear surrounding them.
Yeah.
And Tomalak's like, no! Humana. And Tomalak's like, if we fire, you'll still die.
Yeah,
and Picard's like, and if we fire, you'll die.
Mutually assured destruction. It's this again.
Yep. It always comes back to this with
Well,
Star
that's what
Trek,
happens when you
doesn't
have
it?
weapons that, like, can just blow up a planet. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the ships are, like, insane. Like,
And he's like, do you want to die together, Tomalak?
oh, it's so good. Oh, God. And Tomalak is like, he's so great too, because he's like, I hope to see you soon or whatever. I will enjoy our next meeting. And it's such a Romulan, like, I definitely came out of this on top. And it's
like I didn't lose. I'm gonna get you next time.
Right. It's, oh man. Damn, Romulans are so fascinating.
Yeah.
Dude.
Fucking the best moment in the entire episode, the moment that like hits you like a ton of fucking bricks. Jirok standing by himself, staring off into nowhere, says, I did it for nothing.
He's just
my
broken.
home, my family.
Well,
for nothing.
That's what happens with that shit. That's what happens with the people like that. Like, I think we, like, kind of, like, I say we, I mean, like, I think people, when they watch this episode, like, kind of take the wrong lesson away from this. Like, you come out of this, like, because, like you said earlier, like, we always say we as the Federation. Like, you and I are in the Federation. But this is really about, like, the Romulans being more close to how we are now than
Yeah, I mean, this is like Romulan 101. If we were going to do a Romulan collection, it would probably star this one.
We did that.
Did we? Yeah. Okay, when we did a Romulan collection, it should have starred this one.
Your mind is clouded by how awesome the Satan's collection was.
Yeah, it really did fuck me up for all other collections.
I mean, hail Satan, but, you know.
Yeah, 666. But, like, they go into his quarters later and they find his dead body.
He ate that dirty-ass Necco wafer he had in his boot.
Like, we thought earlier in the episode, us as in the audience thought the Necco wafer was some sort of, like, sabotage device.
It's just, or like a communication device.
Yeah.
You automatically suspect, which is goddamn such Ronald D. Moore fucking brilliance. Like, you think that that's like some kind of nefarious thing, and it is sort of, but not the way you thought it was. Like, it's a suicide pill. It's a fucking tooth with cyanide in it, right?
And he takes it and he dies, and he left a letter for his daughter, and Data has a great line where he says he must have known that we could never deliver that.
Right.
And Picard says maybe there will be a day sometime in the near future when we can.
Yep.
And this episode ends very, very fucking sadly.
But it's so goddamn good.
It's so good. It's such a fucking great episode.
Yeah. I always forget how good this one is, which I think is a testament to how good this show is.
There's so many good episodes that some of them get lost in there.
This is season 3, so this is really when the show starts kicking, right? You're like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, this is Star Trek. This is the new Star Trek when it first aired. Like, this ain't your daddy's Star Trek anymore, right?
Man. Man.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I love this episode. I don't know what else to say, so. I hate Romulans, though.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you're kind of spacist against Romulans.
Look, here's some truth. I hate Romulans because I see ourselves in them.
It's a mirror. There is a mirror when it comes to Romulans, and I mean, all of the Star Trek races, to one degree or another, are a mirror held up to humanity.
Yeah, some aspect of humanity. The Romulans are they're fascist, and they're just evil in a lot of ways. Like, not them as people, but like their government and their lifestyle, like their way of doing government things. I don't know. It now, especially watching it in the time that we are recording this podcast in, which is November. What time is it? November 15th, 2018.
At 1:07 a.m., if anyone was wondering.
Yeah, 1:07 in the morning. It's tough to, like, see the Romulans and not hate them because of America right now and, like, all the fascist shit going on and, like, how sick of it I am. You know?
It's the Romulans are, like, an always looming threat of what we could become.
Yes.
And I've never felt closer to that precipice before. And I mean, all around the world, this type of thing is happening. Like, there's always that, like, nerdy joke that everybody loves to do that, like, oh, we're living in the mirror universe.
Right. Yeah.
But that's really not that far from true.
I think we're living. I think that's a joke that people who don't really know about Star Trek say. But we're really living in the pre-World War III Star Trek universe. Yeah. That's exactly where we're at.
But, like, the thing is, World War III was supposed to happen in, like, the 80s.
Well, in old Star Trek, but not in this Star Trek.
Well, I mean, the Bell riots took place in the 90s.
No,
in Deep Space Nine.
2013. 20-something? 2020? I think it's coming up, isn't it?
2024.
Yeah.
Oh, so, well. We're still headed that way.
We got some World War III in to do. But that's the thing is, like, right now we're seeing, like, criminal enterprises in our real world exert fascist power and use the idea of authoritarianism and fascism against, like, people who are afraid of like brown-skinned people and like people who are different than them, which is exactly what happens in Earth in Star Trek, like before.
Yeah,
Zephyr
I mean,
Cochrane.
the shittiest part of it is that like we have the Bell Riots, World War III, the eugenics wars. And
those
then
are the
maybe we
90s.
can form a world government.
Well, also we need to have a genius who invents faster than light travel, if we haven't already invented it. I'm looking at you, American aliens.
Look, if we can get a drunk to invent faster than light technology, we'll be fine.
We'll be probably okay. And also, if the Vulcans are real.
Yeah, we definitely need the Vulcans.
They're a big part of why that happens.
It's good that the Vulcans helped us make it to space so that we could be extremely racist to them during baseball games like 600 years later.
Hey, look. Here's the thing about Vulcans.
Does it have something to do with the color of their blood or skin, Josh?
No. What it has to do with? No, I don't know. It's just
He's got nothing but the blood and skin. He's got nothing
else. I'm all smoke and mirrors.
No. John Larroquette fun fact of the week for you.
Oh fuck yes! Finally.
This was the first episode of Star Trek to air in the 90s.
That's a perfect one.
The first.
When did it come out? What?
Isn't that a fun fact?
It is fun. How interesting.
I had a fun time saying it. It came out January 1st, 1990.
Wow. On New Year's Day.
Yep.
Of the most important decade of our lives.
It seems like it.
Well, it was our formative year. Well, mine anyway. You're a little younger than me.
I was alive then, Josh.
You were alive.
I was being formed into a person. It was formative. Here's a very, very fun fact of the week for you.
A super rare, very, very fun fact.
Wesley Crusher does not appear in this episode.
Which probably is the sole reason it's good.
Apparently there's an episode of Battlestar Galactica written by Ronald D. Moore that starts almost the exact same way. Is this
what
episode? Hero.
I don't remember that one.
A fighter pilot who thinks he's escaped from the custody of the Cylons.
Yes.
There you go.
Too much.
That's a show that exists that I've heard about.
That's probably the only, weirdly enough, that's probably the only Battlestar episode that doesn't have like a payoff, really. It's sort of a one-off. It does in a weird way, but not like a super important way.
Fuck you, Ronald D. Moore. Get your shit together.
Ronald D. Moore wrote 4 seasons of the most incredible show ever, and one of those episodes kind
Deep
of
Space Nine.
That's what I'm talking about.
I really do find the Romulans fascinating. Like, I think, no, I did 100% go on record saying Romulans are my favorite Star Trek villains.
They're better than the Klingons, I mean, for sure. Like,
yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I also find them to be super fascinating. They're perfect in almost every way. They're the Sith, right? Like, you can't get rid of them.
Except interesting.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Got him.
What'd you say?
I said, except interesting. I don't know anything about the Sith outside of the movies, so.
Well, they're only the strong survive, right? Like,
sure.
Like,
only the Ray
means.
Park survives. I know.
Only Braveheart survives?
Only Ray Park survives.
Ray Park, yeah, he does survive.
He gets spider legs.
He does, and then he gets kind of normal legs.
Well, he gets normal legs because he's going to be in a movie soon, and you can't put those fucking spider legs in there.
The Mandalorians give him the normal legs.
Why is everything about Mandalorians now?
It wasn't. This is from the Clone Wars. They do it in the show.
I mean, like, they're doing a Mandalorian show now.
Because people really want Boba Fett to be interesting, but he's kind of not.
No, he looks cool.
He does look cool, but Mandalorians are cool. They're like the Star Wars Klingons.
You have a really cool fight with him in Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
Maybe not really cool.
I just hated the IG-88 trash compactor
God, that fight. The thing is, he looks exactly like the garbage. You can't fucking see him.
And he, like, ports around, like, real fast. It's crazy.
I fucking hate that fight. That one and the one where you fight the Daigen.
Who?
What is it called? The fucking, like, trash compactor.
Oh, yeah. The thing, yeah.
Yeah, that fight sucks a dick, too.
Anything that you fight in or around trash sucks.
Yes. Anyway, I feel like we've probably talked a decent amount about this episode.
It's one of the best ones.
And that's the thing about when we go through like a really good episode, we don't go off on tangents as much and we don't shit on it as much, so the episodes tend to be kind of shorter.
I don't know. We definitely went off on some tangents.
That's true.
We talked about World War II. We talked about Ed Sheeran's gross face.
Those were both related. Those were related.
Look, I don't want to say this, but Ed Sheeran probably started World War II, so there you go.
God damn.
Also, how do we know Ed Sheeran isn't a secret Romulan? We don't know that. Has anyone ever tested his blood?
Is he a green-blooded hobgoblin?
Probably.
I'm terrified of what that means for the future of humanity. If the Romulans got here first,
we're fucked, man.
We would get along with them better, I think.
We would understand them better, probably, right? Because they're like dicks and we're dicks. So.
That's the big thing with like why we butted heads with the Vulcans for so long, is we didn't understand them.
Right.
How can you not want to like fucking kill? That's what we've done for all of our existence.
But also the Vulcans were sort of fucked up for a little while. You gotta watch Enterprise.
Yeah, I know about that. Also, the Vulcans are like condescending pricks, which no human being loves.
But then we kind of just learn to love it. It reminds me of when I first met Mike Sadorf. I remember vividly when I first met him. And I thought to myself, I could either hate this person or love this person. And I decided that I would love him. And I do.
You decided? I've never had that moment where I decided how I was going to feel about somebody.
I knew the type of person Mike was. I could just tell. I knew either I could decide to have a problem with how he was, which is he's very smart, one of the smartest people I ever met, or I could just be like, yeah, sure, let's be friends.
I've never had that moment. I always gradually develop an opinion of somebody. I do have like the snap first opinion that I try not to go with.
Do you ever have love at first sight?
Yeah. No.
That means no.
No, I've never had love at first sight. I always fall in love gradually.
There were times when there's been at least one time where I was like, oh no, I love this person. I know what I don't know. Maybe it's just luck, or maybe
that probably worked out good.
I mean, it didn't. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a thing. I
guess that's true. I mean, I'm not one of those people who doesn't believe in love at first sight. I just don't think it's something I do.
Well, if we want to get like real like scientific about it, whatever attracted me to this person, I recognized immediately as purely sexual, right? Like.
So it was more like lust at first sight.
Well, what's the difference? We just make up this idea of love, like
love is like textbook wise, there's really no difference. It's all about like the endorphins that are released in your brain.
Right, love is action, right? So love comes from like not fucking people up. Yeah. Love is really just not fucking somebody up, right?
Love is like a deeper form of like you just have more like.
Yeah, it's just stronger like.
Yeah, it's I guess that's the difference between a relationship that works out well and one that doesn't.
Relationships can. That's my experience, obviously. Like, I mean, I'm very cerebral. Sound like a total dickhead, but like
that's fine.
I always I'm making you sound good. I always think that, like, I mean, in my experience with like people that I've been with, like, I obviously love them, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna be with somebody. That's a lie that we're told. Is like,
when you love somebody, like, you're gonna be. Sometimes things don't work out, and like sometimes like those emotions.
And that's fine.
Sometimes
That's
those
okay.
emotions aren't enough to carry you. Like, all the time, they're not enough to carry you. You have to,
There's other
want to
things
continue, right?
You have to, you have to re-up. You got to have a meeting about what you're going to do next.
You got to go to the meeting about the meeting to figure out if you're going to stay together,
thank
right?
you. Finally, it comes back.
That's from a thing that most of our listeners aren't even going to know about.
If you want to hear the thing, go to patreon.com/mclasspodcast and donate to us, and let's get money.
Yeah, if you give us your money on patreon.com/mclasspodcast, you can get another podcast from us where we talk about other topics.
Like love and chemical attraction.
And meetings. I'm really selling this.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you'll also get some little writing tidbits, some audio logs inside the Star Trek universe.
Yeah.
Written by us, voiced by us. It's good shit.
I typed mine out with my dick.
I didn't type mine. I just said it. Because I'm a consummate professional.
Yeah.
I didn't need a script.
That's why they let us on the internet. You don't let people on the internet who don't do things professionally.
That's why Josh's is going to be better than mine, because he took the time to type it out. I just fucking winged mine from a bunch of ideas I had, but whatever.
You wing-wanged it.
Yeah, I wanged it.
Wing-wanged it over the stone fence.
I wanted to say something before we got to the ending part, but now it doesn't matter. Oh, we also do commentary tracks. We did one for Rumble in the Bronx.
Which is a great movie.
It's a great movie, and we had a great time making it. And at least one person liked it. So hopefully you will too.
That's all I care about.
If you'd like to get some more of this good M-Class content, maybe you've missed some episodes, you don't know what the collections are that we've done already, you can head over to mclasspodcast.wordpress.com, and all of our episodes are sitting there waiting for you to ogle with your ears and your eyes.
Yeah.
You can follow us over on Twitter to learn about all the new comings and goings of your favorite Trek boys at mclasspodcast, or you can shoot us an email at mclassemail@gmail.com, singular, and we'll read it on the next program we're going to record tonight.
Yep, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Fuck it.
It's an all-nighter, boys and girls. We're going to stay up all night and talk about cute boys.
Oh, shit. I like this cute boy, but mostly let's watch Biodome.
Fuck yeah.
That movie is not good.
No, that's a bad movie.
That is like a 90s movie that I will not go to bat for.
That is a bad film.
Skip that one.
I'd still watch it. Whatever.
Skip it.
Whatever. I'll still watch it. But anyway... tune in next week for more M-Class goodness when we'll be back with another episode of Ben Beuhler's Defection Collection.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm mentally ill.